Good morning, everyone. It's your girls from Obscure Oration, and we're here with our answer finally to the ethical question. Sorry for the delay. I 100% forgot as the week went on, and then I took a day off the world yesterday. I didn't touch my phone at all.
Life happens.
Yep. So the ethical question was, does every person deserve respect? And I shall let Dana start with this one.
So thank you for everybody that answered. There were a few. Plus, I had a few DMs with conversations, if you will. So, does everybody deserve respect? No. Respect isn't a right. You have to earn respect. And if you don't respect someone, don't expect them to respect you back.
Yes.
It's literally that fine line, right? A parent, if you have one of your parents, whether it be your mother or your father, is a completely vicious person and verbally abuses you, do you still have to respect them because they are your parent?
Hell no.
Exactly. I say hell no. I'm going to cut you out of my life faster than a hot knife cuts butter. But do you know how many people told me that regardless of how your parents or extended family treat you, you should always respect them? No.
And that just drives me up a bloody wall, because I'm with you. Not everyone automatically just deserves respect just because, oh, well, they're a human being. No? Do you respect Hitler? There's a really good one. Do you think everyone deserves respect? Because I sure as shit guarantee he doesn't. And Donald Trump deserves respect. Just throwing that one out there right now.
No.
Fuck no.
And you know what, it was funny because I was just telling Taylor, my husband and I watched Gladiator 2 on Friday night. And my husband, who cannot make it through a movie without falling asleep, regardless, the man fell asleep watching Terrifier 3. And if you've seen the Terrifier movies, you don't sleep through those. But anyways, because the premise of the movie is gladiators and Rome and whatnot. At the end of the movie, and I grant you, he missed some because, but at the end of the movie, he turns to me and looks at me. He goes, "And you know what?" He goes, "Not once did I see that Roman salute."
That is a very good point.
I'm like, that's because Elon Musk didn't Roman salute anybody. He did the Heil Hitler Roman salute.
100%. And again, another one you can't respect. And I just learned this week, because I know nothing about him. I don't pay attention to his shit. I know he's just a horrible human being, so like I don't look in depth into him. I didn't know that he has a trans daughter.
Yeah. Oh, and she fucking hates him.
Yeah, he cut her off out of the family and everything.
If you follow, and here's the whole irony of this: follow her on X. She runs her father into the fucking ground. Which
is fantastic.
The whole irony, because he fucking owns X and he will censor you if he doesn't like what you post.
That is hilarious.
Oh, and by the way, because Obscure Orations does have an X account, which I very rarely use, to be honest with you. Because Mr. Musk owns it, and he is literally sucking Trump's dick.
Choking on it. Well, it'd have to be bigger for that.
The one day I go into X, and lo and behold, I'm suddenly following Donald J. Trump. In a
No.
fucking world where hell froze over, I wouldn't even follow Donald J. Trump. Yet because those two are thicker than thieves, he has forced everybody that has an X account to follow Donald J. Trump. Not POTUS, which is President of the United States, but Donald J. Trump, who, by the way, has his own media platform now.
And see, that to me,
no respect.
I was just going to say, zero respect is disrespectful. Like, I'm assuming you would have seen it years ago. Mulan, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your family.
No, I
When
haven't.
the dragon say, "Oh, you've never seen Mulan? Oh, sad."
Oh, now I'll have to watch it. Oh.
I love that movie so much. It was one of my favorites growing up as a kid, and that was one of my favorite lines that anyone who's seen that movie will quote it. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
It is like, so one person that sent a DM to the podcast on TikTok said, and they basically said what I said: respect is earned, it's not a right. Mm-hmm. And they went on to say, and I'm not going to use their name, and I've already deleted the conversation because there was sensitive information, but they went on to say that as a child, their father molested them, and they severed ties with him when they were in their early teens, is what they said. And so no communication from dad between 13 and 24. Mm-hmm. But then they were getting married, and their mother said that she wouldn't go to their wedding unless they allowed their father to walk them down the aisle. This was a man who sexually molested them.
Like absolute fuck.
So that's where, the conversation went. I had no respect for him at 13. I definitely had no respect for him at 24. And they said my wedding was parentless.
I was just going to say, I would have, at that point, I would have lost all respect for my own mother and said, but that's fine. You're also now cut out of my life.
And that's exactly what happened.
Like, that to me, it drives me nuts when people say that you have to respect. Oh, well, it's your family member. Oh, or the one that drives me up a wall. Respect your elders. No. Just because you're an elder doesn't mean that you automatically get respect. You made it to old age. Whoop-de-fucking-do for you. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. It doesn't mean that you're a good person. It doesn't mean that you deserve anyone's respect. You could have been a fucking asshole your entire life. You could have molested your children. Like, there's an episode, because my mom and I are currently still watching, because there's 13 seasons of it on DVD, called The Midwife.
Oh, okay.
And there was an episode of it where a woman is left husbandless. Like, she had stayed with him for decades upon decades, but he dies in a snowstorm. And she's finally like, yay, I'm free. He would beat me. He would do this. He would do that. He molested and raped their daughter and got her pregnant. And then the daughter finally just up and ran away one night and said, I would have nothing to do with my father. I barely even respected my mother. And then they end up, like, the mother and her reconnect in the end, because she understands that her mom was obviously in a bad situation, had no money, because it's back in that would have been like in the 30s and 40s, I think. And there was you didn't leave your husband back then. There was the rule of thumb of a husband could beat his wife with a stick no bigger than his thumb, and it was legal. So it just showed the world that we came from And just sitting there, it's like, okay, yeah, and just because they're elderly, you don't have to give them respect. Like, he was a horrible man. Why would you offer someone who beat his wife, did things to his daughter, got his daughter knocked up?
Right.
Like, why would you? I would never at any point in time be like, oh, yeah, you have to respect him because he's older. No, 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 no.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I spit on your grave and I do a little dance.
A jiggity jig.
Jiggity jig. Hi today, today.
So yeah, the consensus, a lot of, and it, again, one answer or one word answers, no, 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 no. I don't. We didn't come across anybody that said yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that was definitely a consensus, which I would have been curious to see. Obviously, we'd have to do a time traveling ability, but um, being able to go back in time throughout the different decades and see what people said. Like, what would people have said in the 60s versus now in the early 1900s, like 1910, 1920? I would have been curious to see what people would have said because I feel like back then, all of the answers would have been yes, of course, without like any hesitation. I think
Yeah.
in the 60s is when it sort of started to change. Like, women were coming forward and saying, hey, we have no rights, this is happening, yada, yada. And then
Yeah, I
now that
think
we've
that
gotten,
started changing in the mid 1920s. Women's rights.
yeah, because I think it's when the
That's when they got the vote.
suffragettes,
They
I was
got the
going to
vote.
say, yeah, because you had the suffragettes and all that. So, I mean, I'm gonna basically encourage you and be like, hey, you should use your online streaming ability and watch Call the Midwife when you can after you're done Downton Abbey.
Okay, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. How's
Because
that?
there's some definitely really good. I mean, I absolutely love the show as a whole, but there's a really good episode where it's a woman who is a hoarder and living in a condemned.
You're gonna say who's a whore.
Oh, there's a lot of those too. But she's living in a house or a condemned home, and she ends up like the midwife is searching through the house and she finds a medal, and it was from when she was a suffragette and she had done a hunger strike. And you kind of understand more about the character and more about history because I didn't know stuff like this. But it was a medal for doing a hunger strike, and then on the back I believe it says being force fed in 19 whatever 30, somewhere around there.
Oh wow.
And what it was that the women who were doing the hunger strike were forcibly taken into hospitals, I'd assume psychiatric wards, and dirty hoses were shoved down their gullets and they were force fed food so that they had to eat because that was the way that they took care of it. And that to me brings up the thought of, do you have to respect a doctor just because they're a doctor or a nurse? And again, my thought is no. Just because you went to school extra long and you went and got your doctorate in something doesn't mean that you deserve respect for it. 9 times out of 10, and I'm sorry to any doctors or medical professions or doctorate holders, anything like that, who aren't like this, they tend to be arrogant assholes who are just despicable human beings. Yes, they might be good at their jobs and incredibly intelligent, don't get me wrong, but they're assholes.
And I can elaborate on that for you
Ooh.
because I suffered from osteoarthritis
Mm-hmm.
in both my knees. I had two um,
Knee replacements?
orthopedic surgeons.
Oh, right.
My first orthopedic surgeon, I had torn my meniscus in my right knee. And if anybody has ever torn their meniscus, it fucking hurts. And what that means is the cartilage in between my kneecap and the bone ripped. And then when my knee would move a certain way, that cartilage would stick up and then my kneecap couldn't move back. And it hurt. I fought that man for 7 years to get surgery to fix my knee. Because he told me my knee hurt because I was fat.
That is one of the biggest pet peeves that I have. Ageism and fatism.
So, I was in my early 40s when that happened. I got the surgery finally. He relented. I got my knee fixed. I was fine, but like I said, I have osteoarthritis. I worked in a factory on a cement floor where I stood for 8, sometimes 12 hours a day. In the last 4 years, 5 now.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, because the Rona.
Yeah, I've had both my knees replaced. And it was my second orthopedic surgeon when I finally got a chance to, because asshole number 1 quit. Or not quit, he retired. He was an old fuck. That tells you something right there. He was old as fucking dirt.
Mm-hmm.
But he retired, so I got to go see a new orthopedic surgeon. And the day I saw him, I remember it was December 2nd. And I went in for my appointment, and I had to go to work in the afternoon. I went in for my appointment, and he says, I'm going to send you down for x-rays. He goes, because I always like to see x-rays that are super fresh. I get it. So I go down for the x-rays, literally down the hall, and I come back, and I'm sitting in the room, and I'm sitting, and the nurse came in, and she looked at my x-rays, and she went back out, and then Dr. JC came in, and he looked at my x-rays, and they, like, whispers. Then he looked back at my x-rays, and then he turned around and he looked at me, and he said, how the hell are you walking?
And what we were like, very painfully.
And I
one
said,
foot in front of the other.
And I said, with a lot of pain and 4 different types of knee braces. He goes, you need to have your knee replaced. He goes, you are cracking your bones. He goes, because they're rubbing together. He goes, you have literally no cartilage left.
Oof.
I honestly, I could have stood up and hugged the man. I was crying. I literally walked out of his office, went to his reception desk, and booked my surgery. That's how fast he wanted it done.
And that right there just tells you how bad it was, number one, and how bad at his job the first doctor was. Just to ignore, it's like, oh, well, you're just fat. No amount of weight loss would have made a difference. You could have weighed 20 pounds and your bones still would have been cracking and painful. And then he would have been like, oh, I guess I should have looked at those, huh? Dumbass.
Yep. So, yeah. No, not everybody deserves respect. Respect is earned. It's not given.
Yes. 100%. I agree with that.
So, we're late.
Yeah, we made it, though.
We'll have a new one on Wednesday, I'm sure of it.
Yes, we will. Whether we answer it right away or not, that's a different story altogether. But I think you've all figured that out by now.
Please don't lose respect for us.
That was good. So good.
Have a great, Ellen, happy Super Bowl to everybody watching.
Oh, yeah.
So have a great day, everyone.
Woo.